speaking of restless dreams.
Mother, are you and Father in true love, like the fairy tales?
I thought I forbid you to speak of fairy tales. Have you been reading them?
No, Mother. I overheard someone in the palace talking about them today.
Then I shall have to find that person and make sure they know what an appropriate topic of conversation in the palace is.
But Mother, the true love in fairy tales sounds so nice. Do you think I can fall in true love with a prince?
Dearest one, true love like that does not exist.
But
the love between a mother and her child is the truest kind. It cannot be replicated by anything else. All other kinds of love is an illusion. My love is all you will ever need. Do you understand me, my heart?
Yes, Mother.
Aww, she just wants to fall in love with a prince. The lost prince. Technically, we did fall in love with a prince last time as well. Oh. This awesome music's back. Keep your stand straight, princess. Jurian gives me the warning, but too late on purpose. I can see the smile on her face as she effortlessly slides past my defenses and taps me on the shoulder with her wooden sword. I got you. Again. For the last few days, I have been practicing with Jurian and Garland because Claude still hasn't come out of his room. The knights offer to train me, and right now they are teaching me about ways to hold a sword. I still cannot even begin to theorize as to what is happening with Claude, so I'm just gonna wait for it to explain it to me. This is slow, but Claude did tell me I wouldn't be able to master the sword so quickly. Claude. He made me so angry that one day that I could not even properly give him my gift. Yet I still feel sad that he's not here teaching me himself. Come on, princess, focus. I jolt out of my reverie and nod at Jurian. Okay. I ready myself for her next strike and once again get tapped, this time on the hip. Garland takes over after Jurian, and then we do rounds where I try to hit them with certain strikes. They are both good at teaching, but it does not feel the same as Claude's instruction. His lessons seemed less like they were out of a book. Don't worry, princess. It always starts out slow. Len was just as slow at training, but look at him now. Garland whips his head around in Jurian's direction, his face turning deep red. Jurian, that nickname. But you're so much fun to tease, Lan. She beams at him and then laughs at his embarrassed face. Our practice goes on for a few more minutes before the knights tell me to wrap up for the night. I think I'm going to stay out here for a little bit. Princess, you know it's dangerous out here at night. If I don't return in 10 minutes, you can come back and check on me. Jurian seems unconvinced, but she eventually nods. Fine, but keep your guard up, princess. I watch the two knights as they head back. I see Garland put his arm around Jurian's waist, pulling her closer. Aww. I love those two. They're so cute. I turn away from the sight, ignoring the heavy feeling in my stomach. I'll just practice the swings for 5 more minutes. The only thing I hear in the clearing while I practice is my shallow breathing and the wind in my ears. Something breaks my concentration, however. I see a glimmer of color in the forest, and I instantly stop, my hands growing tense on the wooden sword. What was that? I glance around at my surroundings, and then I freeze when I feel a hand on my shoulder. I can feel someone's breath on my neck. This all feels familiar. Is this Claude? I wouldn't take the chance. Defend yourself, sir, if you are Claude. Hey. I'm pretty sure I recognize Claude's hand, but because I know it's him, I also know what he'd want me to do. I duck away from his hand and turn quickly to point my sword. The tip of the wood is at his neck, and for a few stunned moments, I think I've won. Even Claude looks surprised. It's really him! Yay! Sorry, Boo. I didn't want to take the chance. But then Claude's hands have moved, and he has one hand over my wrist and the other on my sword. Good, Lucette. You realized you had an opening, but you broke your concentration. Claude. Claude removes his hands, allowing me to lower my sword. I'm sorry, Lucette. I feel my breath catch in my throat when Claude holds out the rose pendant that I got for him. I feel my cheeks flush. Ah, there it is. You accidentally left this beautiful thing in my room when I... Well, I came to return it. Return it? Yes, you left it in my room, and so I only thought it appropriate to bring it back to you. Does he really think I left it there on accident? Why would I leave it in your room on accident? What? I bought it for you, and I wanted to give it to you, but you were acting so strangely, and... Claude's eyes widened, the surprise clear on his face. Lucette, you bought this for me. Why does he look so shocked? Claude looks at me in awe for a few moments. His eyes go back down to the locket. He traces a finger around the intricate shape, his eyebrows slowly furrowing. It's to thank you for everything that you've done for me. Lucette, this is beautiful. He lets the chain fall through his fingers as he stares at the rose pendant with adoration. I feel my heartbeat stutter as he turns to regard me with the same gentle smile. Oh, hi. He leans forward, and my breathing stops as he reaches out to hold up my glass slipper necklace. He's standing so close to me. We both got necklaces now. You really are a good person, Lucette. You completed your second good deed. I think some kind of congratulations is in order. Is there anything you want that I can give to you? I look up at him and notice that Claude's smile doesn't reach his eyes. He still looks so sad. I feel like there is so much that I want from Claude, but I do not want to ask for something that might make him sad. I don't want to say I want you to smile. Like, he's smiling right now, even if it's a fake smile. He'd be like, I am smiling. I think we both need a hug. Maybe I just want a hug. But I think we both need a hug. Huh? Claude looks at me in surprise. He thinks I'm being foolish for making such a request, doesn't he? I shouldn't have said anything. But before I can say anything else, Claude takes many steps forward, it sounded like, and wraps me in his arms. He pulls me toward him, and in those moments of silence, all I can hear is his heartbeat resounding in his chest. I can feel his warmth all around me, and his fingers clasp gently at my back. I feel so strange. My heart is racing, and my knees feel weak. Something like this? He speaks right into my ear. It is a surprisingly pleasant feeling. Suddenly, Claude makes a noise of distress as he steps away from me. All of the warmness that was pressed against me 1 moment ago is gone. Whoa! Oh no, that was not a good sign. Karma suddenly stops, eyes wide. He puts his hand on his chest and takes a step away from me, his fingers clutching at the fabric of his shirt. At the tattoo? Oh no. Claude has a pained expression on his face, only making me more anxious. Not now. Claude, are you okay? What's wrong? Lucette, don't worry about it. He lowers his hand with a pained smile slowly fading from his face. This does little to reassure me. Was it my fault you were locked in your room for so long? He just looks so pained to be anywhere near me. No, most definitely not. I was feeling under the weather. And also bitter. Bitter? Why would he feel bitter? But it's not for you to worry about, darling. For now, we should head back. It's late and you need rest. I just got back from patrol, so I would like to rest as well. Is there anything else I can do for you? No, sweet Lucette. You've already done enough for me. He clutches the rose locket to his chest and sighs out a little with a gentle smile. This smile feels real to me. This is a beautiful gift, and I will treasure it always. Thank you, Lucette. Now, shall we head back? I nod at him, and we silently walk back to the Marchen. When we make it back to the tavern, I feel tired, but also lighter than I have for weeks. Claude wishes me a good night before slowly walking off to his room, holding the rose locket I gave him tightly. Don't disappear on me, though. Today, I am walking around town to do some errands with Claude. It has been quite a while since we have done this. Though we are here to run errands, there is also something else that drew me into town today. Yesterday, Walt came back to the Marchen and told us of an announcement the king was making today. Apparently that announcement had been posted for at least a week's time, but Waltz had only caught on to it after hearing about it from the crowds after one of his puppet shows. I am not sure what this announcement entails, but I feel that I need to see the king make it with my own eyes. Oh, is it about the ball? I can see more people milling about than usual, which means most of them must be waiting for the king to speak. I have a bad feeling about this. It is not strange for the king to make announcements, but this feels so sudden. And with everything else that's happened to me, I feel on edge.
Wow, Lucette, you made these bags sound a lot lighter than they'd actually be.
Stop complaining, Miss Karma. You get valuable experience out of carrying bags. Seeing Claude complain is amusing, especially since I know he can handle the load.
I feel like a servant.
What does that make me when you made me carry all those bags before?
An assistant.
I roll my eyes at him. We're both working at the Marchen, you know. And then the thought strikes me. What do you even do at the Marchen? Claude looks surprised at my question, but then he quickly smiles at me.
I train the knights, of course. I also attract customers with my beautiful reputation.
Claude's face flushes.
Darling, I get the feeling you're laughing at me.
I wonder. Pull a Travisism on you. We finish up the rest of our errands and then sit down in the town plaza to rest. Claude leaves briefly and then returns with a slice of cake for both of us to share as a snack. I have a lot of things I want to ask him, and now feels like the right time to do so. May I ask you a question?
Of course, darling, anything.
Do you enjoy dressing like a woman?
I don't mind it, really. I appreciate the beauty in anything. You girls get to wear quite an assortment of lovely dresses and makeup. It's quite beautiful. I feel more comfortable in my own clothes, but I don't mind dresses.
I guess if you've had to wear a dress for so long, you get used to it. I have another question.
And what would that be?
This is what I've been wondering about too. When I was in your room the other day, you spoke about a woman. Were you talking about the witch who cursed you?
Oh no, the woman I was talking about.
He suddenly goes silent and lowers his head. His expression fades into something more melancholy, and I feel my heart lurch. Maybe I shouldn't have brought this up. To my surprise, Claude continues talking. I'm shocked too.
Shortly after I came to Angielle, there was a woman that I met whose smile was as radiant as sunshine. She was beautiful, and when she laughed, everything felt right about the world.
Hearing him talk about her makes me uncomfortable. Am I jealous? Claude watches me quietly as if he is measuring my expression. Eventually, he goes back to speaking.
I knew her for many months. Time passed, and I thought we were truly in love. And then
He goes silent for a few moments, his eyes distant, his expression pained.
Well, some things happened, and I realized she only loved me because of my curse. She was drawn to me just as any other woman is. She seemed so genuine in comparison to the other women, but in the end...
Claude trails off and lets out an exasperated sigh. You were truly in love with her.
I was. I've dated many women, but I've never fallen in love with someone who has honestly loved me back.
This music! So then the last person he loved was that one woman. Claude looks at me, and for a few moments he does not speak.
Lucette, do you mind if I ask you a question?
No, I don't mind.
Have you ever loved anyone?
My mother, of course.
I was referring to a romantic kind of love.
Romantic kind of love? What does that kind of love feel like?
Allow me to enlighten you.
He smiles at me, and it is surprisingly genuine.
It can feel simultaneously like floating and sinking. Your heart stutters and you worry about small things, about offending this other person in some way. You wonder if they'll like what you're wearing, or if they would prefer a sandwich to a casserole when you treat them for dinner. You begin to find beauty in all of the things that they do. Their presence makes you feel complete in a way that you had never thought of before. You try to imagine life without that person and find that you cannot. To even consider such a thing is painful,
So much so that it feels like it might break your heart. Claude continues talking, but my mind is already whirling. Though he phrases things in a way that still feels unnecessarily dramatic, I feel a tinge of familiarity. The things he's describing, those are the things I feel when I am with him. Ah, Lucette! Before I can say anything, we hear the sound of hooves and the both of us turn. I can see a procession of knights along with the king on his horse. He normally rides into town like this, but today he's not smiling and there are way too many knights riding with him. And is that Sir Alcaster? Let us go find a place to stand and watch. As you wish. Claude walks with me into the crowd gathering around the king, and we find a spot to spectate at the very edge, closest to the alleyways.
My beloved citizens of Angielle, I have come before you today to make an important announcement. Ever since I was given this crown, I have sworn to live my life for the people, and to rule in all fairness so that our kingdom could enjoy great peace.
The crowd breaks into applause. I stare at the king, an uneasy feeling in my stomach when I notice that there is sadness in his eyes, though he is smiling. I hope Sir Alcaster didn't succeed in his coup. Oh dear. Then I notice Sir Alcaster appears to be hiding a smile. I do not like where this is going. The king's speech goes on for long minutes after that, with him detailing the commitments he made, the goals he set, and finally his love for the people. The audience around us clap and cheer, but Claude and I are silent. Something is not right. I nod in response.
To this day I keep this promise. I would never break this oath, for it is the foundation on which I rule.
The audience claps again, but I am silent, watching the king intently.
Unfortunately, the unwelcome news that I bring to you today gives me reason to hand this foundation over to someone else. I have fallen terminally ill.
The king's proclamation is met with shocked and angry chattering from the audience. I cannot hear anything that is being said over the cacophony of voices, but I know that the audience is dissenting. I stiffen as I stare at the king. He is lying. I can tell by the firm set of his jaw and the way his eyes flicker across the crowd faster than they ought to. The king has lied to me so many times before that I can recognize when he does it.
I know that this unfortunate news must come as a shock, but this is an illness for which there is no current cure. As for the question of my successor...
He trails off for a few moments, and I think I see something in his eyes that hints at urgency, but I'm not sure why.
Crown Princess Emmeline is unmarried and still too young to rule on her own.
I feel a pang of irritation and confusion. Another lie. Emmeline could rule just fine with the help of Sir Mithras and the others.
After much thought, I have come to the conclusion that our kingdom, which still continues to face danger from the witches, is best put in the capable hands of the commander of the Order of Caldera, Sir Alcaster.
What? I cannot hide my shock. The rest of the audience reacts similarly, their sudden outburst a testament to their confusion. We should form a riot.
While I will be providing support and assistance from the sidelines, I cannot in all good grace continue to wear this crown when I know I cannot serve my people as they deserve. Simply put, I believe that the witches have gained more power in the recent months, and that Sir Alcaster is best suited to deal with these conflicts. The Fairytale Curse runs more rampant these days, and there have been more reports of incidents involving magic.
The murmuring continues, except now the townsfolk sound panicked. This cannot be true. I did not miss the reluctance in the king's next words.
Sir Alcaster has also suggested a number of remedies to our laws, especially concerning our security and work hours. I believe that Sir Alcaster can better rule this country in these turbulent times. Please show him all the love and loyalty you have shown me.
That bastard. Claude has a foul expression on his face, and his words feel heavy even in a low whisper. I know the king. He takes every duty upon himself, and he would never hand his crown to someone else. So Mithras just let him take over this time? Once Sir Alcaster comes to stand on the podium, he silences them with a glare.
Citizens of Angielle, I swear to you that I will serve you as well as Gennaro has. That being said, I also believe some changes will need to be made.
Sir Alcaster continues to speak. He mentions things like curfews for safety, extended work hours, and additional taxes to go toward the knights, but I am slowly beginning to block out the drone of his voice. What is going on? No, Alcaster must have done something to force the king into this charade. The king stands behind Alcaster with his hands clasped, his eyes alert, but there is a helplessness to them that I have never seen before. It isn't long before the crowd's unsettled murmuring becomes agitated whispering. I am stunned when Claude cups his hand to his mouth and starts shouting. What? His hand to his... to make it sound more manly? Oh no, like, hey! There is only one king! King Gennaro! Claude grips my hand and starts leading me around the outskirts so that people cannot spot him as he continues to shout. The crowd begins to chant along with Claude, and then they draw nearer to the stage where my father and Alcaster are standing. There is only one king, King Gennaro! There is only one king, King Gennaro! Let's go, Lucette. The crowd is right next to the platform now, and the chant carries on. Claude pulls me behind him, but my mind is on my father and on his desperate eyes. Good job, Claude. I'm proud of you. Hours later, the Marchand's Tavern is chaotic. People are talking over each other, trying to relay the scene that they saw in town today. Every visitor here is talking about what they witnessed. I have been in a corner of the room this entire time, trying to understand everyone, but failing. Delora and Parfait are not here to calm all of this chaos. Great.
Hey, Princess, how are you feeling?
I almost jump when I hear Rumpel's voice.
Surprised? I can feel when a damsel is in distress, my lady.
I am really not in the mood for your flirting, Rumpel.
Oh, my apologies. I thought you might have wanted some cheering up. Where's your partner?
He went out to town to survey the situation.
Carmen doesn't do anything around the tavern, but he does a whole lot for you, doesn't he? I suppose that's the least a man in love can do.
I feel myself blush. What is Rumpel going on about?
Princess, you're pink.
I am not. My mind feels all scrambled now. This is all Rumpel's fault. Bleh. Thankfully, before Rumpel can continue talking, the door opens and Delora walks inside to call all the Marchand boarders into the reception room. Thanks, Delora. I've missed you for a long time. When I step into the reception room, I am surprised to see two familiar figures standing beside Parfait. Brother and sister! And old love. Guys! I'm like, man, Rod, never comes to the march in this route. Emmeline and Rod. Both of them look downtrodden and discouraged. Everyone is noticeably shocked as they step inside. The prince and princess? Where did they come from? What is happening at the palace? What of Queen Ophelia? We need silence in the room, everyone! Delora raises her voice, effectively causing everyone to pause. She glances at Parfait, who nods and then turns to look at Rod and Emmeline. Tell us the deets, guys, and Rod, I'm glad you're still alive.
Princess Emmeline, if you would tell everyone what you told Delora and I.
The room is unnaturally quiet as Emmeline begins her story. She starts with the events of 1 week ago. In the middle of a family dinner, Alcaster burst in with soldiers and seized her, Rod, and Ophelia in front of the king. That's different.
Sir Alcaster said that if the king didn't hand over his crown, he would kill us. We had no idea a coup would be staged.
The three of them were taken down to the prison cells, with Ophelia taken to a separate cell.
Sir Fitzgerald helped us escape, but only just barely.
Fritz! Fritz, are you openly disobeying your father? I hope that he's safe.
Alcaster wanted to kill the king. I'm sure that he still will.
But he has no reason to. The king has already handed over his crown. I speak before even realizing. Everyone stares at me, including Rod and Emmeline.
Alcaster is a foul man. I only think he usurped the throne now without violence because he wants less resistance from the people.
He never spoke up to my father before. Did you just say father?
It's a long story,
Oh yeah, of course Rod still remembers, duh.
Emmeline looks between Rod and I, her expression confused. You know each other?
We do.
Emmeline looks like she wants to say something, but she remains silent. Like you two would be a cute couple, though.
Our mother is still inside the palace.
We need to save her somehow. And Sir Fitzgerald.
What happened to Fritz?
We don't know. He helped us escape, but we were spotted at the last minute. He told us to run ahead and leave him behind.
We didn't see him again after that, and we couldn't just wait. So Rod brought me here. Right now, we need to piece together the situation as quickly as we can, and then we need to figure out a way to save the king.
I knew Alcaster was up to something, but I never thought it would escalate into this.
Jurian, what do you know about this?
Garland and I weren't stripped of our titles because we disobeyed Alcaster's orders. It was because we overheard Alcaster plotting something and tried to tell the king of his plot. We gave him a warning, but the king did not believe us. Not with Alcaster and Mithras whispering in his ears.
The king didn't think Alcaster was possible of such a betrayal. He thought we were trying to turn him against Alcaster for our own gain.
And so Alcaster stripped us of our titles and banished us from the palace. Lady Parfait found us, and while we were happy to help out at the tavern, we also intended to eventually do something about the mess in the palace.
So Alcaster has been planning to do this all this time.
Do-do-do.
When we part for the night, Parfait and Delora take Rod and Emmeline to a room that they can share. It has been decided that they will be harbored here at the Margin, a place that Emmeline apparently knew about but never came to because she wasn't cursed. Well, Rod did say that his family knew he was cursed. I noticed Emmeline looking at me many times throughout the night, but she never asked me anything. The next few days are a muddled mess. Everyone is busy trying to find out what happened and what can be done to help the king. I am sweeping the tavern half-heartedly one day, my thoughts on everything but my chores. Everyone's been trying to do something to help out the last few days. Though I've gone on quite a few trips into town with Claude to search for information, I haven't been able to find much. I feel so useless. I am finally on my break, so I decide to go into the reception room to rest. When I step inside, I notice Emmeline sitting on the couch. She waves me over as soon as she sees me. Hey, sister. She hasn't really openly spoken to me since she has been here. Parfait and Delora have been trying to hide her, so as not to cause a ruckus in the Marchen. Rumors are dangerous now.
You're Lucette, right?
Yes.
Rod told me about your curse. He said that you're the king's blood daughter. I'm really sorry.
I'm shocked by Emmeline's sudden outburst. What?
I didn't mean to, but I took your place. How could I forget my own sister?
We're not blood related.
That doesn't matter. I would love you regardless.
Emmeline was always trying to take me out and do things with me back when I was still in the palace. I distanced myself from her because I thought the king loved her more than he loved me. I still think that maybe he does. We weren't close. I barely spoke to you or to Rod. Didn't he tell you that?
He did. But perhaps now we can turn over a new leaf?
Emmeline is as stubborn as always. I have more things to worry about than being her friend. I have to go. I walk off before the conversation can continue. Emmeline! If I hadn't been cursed and remained in the palace, would Sir Alcaster have taken me hostage too? He didn't try last time. The hours tick by, and as the tavern is emptied for the day, Delora calls everyone together to explain what she and Parfait have pieced together about the situation.
All right, everyone. We've come upon some new information. The first is that Alcaster has cracked down on the riots in town. Anyone seen protesting his rule is thrown in prison.
The king always valued the people's opinions. Alcaster does not want opinions. He only wants to rule with an iron fist.
Our patrols have shown that there is overall more security in the palace and around the town. They have been charged with keeping people quiet in whatever ways they possibly can. As we heard from the prince and princess, things are most turbulent in the palace. The king is still alive, but it is unlikely he will stay that way for very long. One thing is clear. Given Alcaster's motives to take over the kingdom, I doubt he will rest until the king is dead. The king's men have turned against him, and even if there are loyal soldiers still left in the palace, we cannot contact them right now.
Rescuing the king and queen will be on us, then.
You guys really do have similar eyes, now that I think about it. We just so happen to have people in this tavern that have a shot at rescuing them. Prince Rod has the key to a secret passage we can use to break into the palace.
Secret passageway? But only the king and the commander of the knights had the key to that passage. So how did they get a copy?
Who's going to join us on this mission?
Jurian and Garland both volunteer immediately, followed shortly by Claude and Waltz. I'll go too. The room goes quiet as I step forward and volunteer.
Princess, we can't just allow you to put yourself in danger.
I look at Claude, who is staring at me shocked. I took out the sword so I could protect those I care about.
Princess, you don't have nearly enough practice.
But I can't help. I still have time to learn.
I agree with Parfait, Princess. The palace isn't the place for you to try out your newfound sword skills.
Then you may as well chain me up, because I refuse to stay here while you all go save the king.
Princess.
Well, she has been practicing with the rest of us.
Don't encourage her, Jurian.
But it's not like any of us can stop her anyway.
You're right. The princess is quite stubborn.
Claude agrees with Jurian, but I can tell that he does not like the idea of me going along with them. If only we had the time to get reinforcements from Karma's country. Karma's country?
Brugantia.
How is it possible that a Brugantian citizen can simply ask for reinforcements? Karma is the crown prince of Brugantia.
There's some shuffling in the room as everyone turns to gawk at Claude. Rumpel, Anise, Rod, and Emmeline all look shocked by this revelation.
You're the Lost Prince? Lost Prince. It sounds like such a tragedy, doesn't it?
Anise suddenly looks distressed as she fiddles her thumbs.
All this time and I never knew. I'm so sorry, Your Highness. There's no need for formalities, Anise. But I am the Lost Prince after all. I keep my lineage a secret because right now I am just a normal commoner.
But you're the prince. Couldn't you still ask for reinforcements?
Even if I did ask for reinforcements, I'm pretty sure they would never come in time. Besides, I can't go back to my kingdom yet.
He cannot go back while he's still cursed. The conversation continues in a more solemn tone. Eventually, we start speaking of our plan to enter the palace. When the details are all finalized, I repeat everything myself to make certain that I know what is meant to happen. Waltz will lead us to the palace then, and Jurian and Garland will follow right behind him, watching for the most immediate enemies. Leave it to us.
We'll deal with any resistance before it touches you, Princess.
And Karma will be watching from the back along with Delora.
A witch and a prince for backup.
Delora smiles wryly. Claude rolls his shoulders.
I'd like to think of us more the closing act. Though if all goes according to plan, we will have no need for either the opening or closing act.
It is a small task force, which is better. The smaller, the better. The last thing we want is to be noticed. We decide to meet again over the course of the next week to finalize our plan and carefully survey the situation in town before parting. Claude is taken to training me, Jurian, and Garland at the same time. Just the other day, he had all of us attack him together. Even though I am nowhere near as good as a trained knight, I still managed to hit him once.